Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Game. CC and the Zols, Charlie Carnaccio, Rick Zolzer, as we count down to exhibition baseball and, of course, some rumblings and bumblings from the Yankee front office. Also on the board are the forecasts for the preseason favorites, for which teams to watch and which teams might win the World Series. And in our overtime session, talking about the business of sports, how about the business of the NFL draft, the ability to pick a winner or a loser? So we're going to break it down into 4 quarters. Each quarter will have a 3-minute time limit. And so here we go. Start the clock, first quarter.
Pressure.
Yankees.
Dellin Betances and the arbitration process. Now, first of all, understand something about the Yankees. They've only gone to arbitration once in the last 10 years or so, and that was with Ching Ming Wang, my favorite Yankee name of all time. They tend to settle before you get to the arbitration process. And what the arbitration process is, when a player becomes eligible, is they go to an independent arbiter who hears both sides of the one side wants X in salary, one side wants Y in salary. So the Yankees, they don't want to pay as much, and Betances and his people want to raise. So instead of picking something in the middle, they end up in court where the Yankees go out of their way to prove the fact that Dellin doesn't deserve the $5 million he's asking. Mm-hmm. He only deserves the $3 million he's asking. So some negative things are said about blown saves, high ERAs, inherited runners, so on and so forth. And Betances' people are trying to say how great he is. Well, again, rarely does it get that far, but even rarer, does once a decision is handed down, in this case in favor of the Yankees, does anybody talk about it other than some small grumbling by the loser, which tends to be the player when that happens. The home team, the team never bubbles, except for Randy Levine, who is by far the biggest idiot in all of Yankeedom. He has shot his mouth off multiple times. He is a bully. He's a guy that likes to beat his chest, and he protects the brand with fever. He's all about the Yankees. He calls out the agents and says how he calls a press conference, which no one has ever done, to tell the reporters on essentially what losers his agents are and trying to create a market that's never been done before. Now, let's be honest about Dellin Betances. The guy been in the league for 3 years. He's been an all-star for 3 years. He's one of the most dominant setup men in all of baseball. In fact, he was number 2 before Wade Davis became a closer when Wade was the number 1 guy. And when they traded Chapman, they made him a closer, even though he wasn't suited for the role. He said, "Give me the ball." He had some success, but he also had some fatigue at the end of the season, frankly, when they needed him the most. But Levine goes in there and starts bashing his agents. So Betances is like, you know what? I would have been fine just, licking my wounds and shutting my mouth. Now what they're doing is they're pissing off one of their prized young players who's homegrown, who lives in the Bronx.
Yeah.
They're pissing off Major League Baseball's Players Association because they said what Randy Levine did was completely unhinged and unprofessional. And they're just putting another mark against the club, because go all the way back to Babe Ruth. For whatever reason, they don't treat their own very well. If you're a free agent, they throw flowers. 20 seconds. Where was my 30-second warning? Oh, my God. Bottom line, Andy Levine is an idiot, and the way he handled this is ridiculous, and I hope Betances signs somewhere else, like the Dodgers.
All right, so 10 seconds. Does it hurt him? Does he say to himself, well, I'm not going to give as much as I would normally give now, and it demoralizes him?
He says that now, but he's a competitor. When the time comes, when Joe says, here's the ball, he'll take it.
End of the first quarter.
That was pressure, dude. Oh, my God.
All right, not bad.
30-second warning this time.
All right, we'll give you a 30-second warning, okay? So we got to ask Patrick, count down from 3 minutes instead of up. So see if we can count down. All right, so second quarter. Let's talk about UConn Huskies. We're not on the clock just yet, but how about the fact that the UConn Huskies have gotten probably the longest streak in sports, what will go down as one of the longest streaks in sports history?
It is in terms of college men's or women's basketball. They won their 100th game last week. After they won the 100th game, they played a team that they beat by 60 the last time, and they beat them by like 3. and it was great to see their head coach saying, hey, we stunk. The team that lost didn't deserve to lose. They deserved to win. We should have lost. So to have that clear of a head in his perspective was unique. But let's talk about some of the nuggets in that 100-game streak. So they won 100 games in a row, the longest in men's or women's basketball. Now, they beat South Carolina 66-55 for the first Division I men's or women's team to accomplish that feat. It had been 818 days since UConn had lost a game. Came on November 17, 2014, and an OT loss to Stanford.
Wait, and before that, they had a 48-game win streak going.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that Stanford broke that.
Right.
And then they just started.
So that means they would be 147-1.
Hello.
That's crazy.
38.4 is the average margin of victory during UConn's 100-game streak. The Huskies have beaten those 100 points by a combined total of 3,842 points. 65. It's the largest margin of victory for UConn over any opponent during the streak. The Huskies have beaten two teams by 65 points each, Cincinnati and South Florida. 25. The number of wins during the streak, which is about 25%, no, actually the math is perfect, 25% that have come by 50 points or more. 9, the number of wins during that streak that have come by 60 points or more. 8, poor East Carolina. They suffered 8 losses at the Huskies during their 100-game winning streak. The most of any team. UConn is 7-0 against South Florida and 6-0 against Tulane. 36, UConn has won 36 consecutive road games in that streak. That is also a record for both men's and women. 28, the number of ranked teams, including the NCAA tournament, that the Huskies have beaten during the streak. And 2, national championships UConn won during that streak. Think about this. There's only one school, Tennessee, with 5 total national championships. The Huskies had 2 during the streak alone.
Yeah.
They have completely dominated their sport, and they get so little press.
Yeah.
They really do. They get so little press, and more often than not, when they play a game, it's the varsity scrimmaging the JV. Mm-hmm. There are wonderful players on other teams all over the country, but they have people who are on their bench who are the 10th woman down, who could start on any other program in the country.
Yeah, and Gino knows how to pick them. He really has got a great scouting program. Case in point, locally, one of the girls on the Ossining girls basketball team, Andrea Espinoza Hunter, she goes to Our Lady of Lourdes, plays Our Lady of Lourdes in Our Lady of Lourdes gym, lights them up for 51 points, 13 three-pointers. The girl's amazing. And she's going to UConn next year.
Well, there's also a local girl who's playing there.
Yeah.
One of their,
another one from Ossining.
No, from like Middletown. Someone in Orange County is playing on their roster.
Oh, I got to look at that.
It's one of their power forwards or centers.
Oh.
So, I mean, they're loaded. And but to me, it was so
30
refreshing.
seconds.
It was so refreshing when he came out and said, we stink, we should have lost, and I actually feel bad about winning this one. But the streak continues.
Yeah.
Coaches are rarely that open.
Oh, he's a class act. Yeah, class act. I had an opportunity to meet him when I was covering Marist, and Marist played them. He just is.
Wait, when Marist was really good or current Marist?
Oh, when Marist was really good. Yeah.
How was that? How'd that happen? How'd that turn out?
It turned out like every other game. Marist hung with him for like the first quarter, and that was the end of it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. All right, that'll do it for the first half of our Inside the Game show. We are now at halftime. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll combine the third and fourth quarters into 6 minutes because we got Vegas odds to talk about, our under/over, and also some predictions for World Series contenders. See what you think. We'll be right back after this.
Our valley is our community. It is our neighborhood, and it is our home. When you need professional local news, go to the source that is your go-to news source. We are the pioneers of digital media in the Hudson Valley. HVNN.com. Anywhere, anytime. It's your local news source. Online.
And welcome back to Inside the Game. CC and the Zols, Charlie Carnaccio, Rick Zolzer. We're talking about baseball as we get squared away, ready for exhibition baseball, and then the real thing. Vegas odds already out there, and so let's talk about that. Start the clock.
All right, first, let's talk about the local teams on how Las Vegas sees those guys. The Mets obviously have a better chance in the eyes of the betting public. The Mets are 18-1 to win the World Series. The Yankees are at 25-1. Then you look at the top of the list, which is no surprise. You have the Red Sox, who've acquired Chris Sale to an already good pitching staff with a lot of young talent. They're at 9-2, and the Cubs are at 9-2.
Right.
So those guys are pretty much pick them in terms of what they're going to win. Indians are at 8-1. The Dodgers at 10-1. Nationals at 10-1. The Giants at 12-1. The Astros at 14-1. And like I said, the Mets at 18-1. Then you go all the way down to the bottom of the list, which is what I find kind of fascinating. The teams that can't suck enough. The Padres and the Phillies, the A's, the Twins, the Brewers, and the Reds, all at 150 to 1.
I could just hear Phillies fans now.
But
you know?
here's what I remember. I don't ever remember that many teams at 150 to 1.
Yeah.
And you look at those teams, they're saying that the Braves are a sleeper pick. That the Braves are one of those teams that, between pitching and acquisitions and always having young talent, that they're going to make some noise. Will they win the World Series? No, but being 100 to 1, if you're a Braves fan, dropping a 10 spot on the Braves at 100 to 1 could be pretty interesting. The Reds are not very good. The Brewers are going to be horrible. The Twins, I think, should be 284,000 to win because they're not winning anything. The A's, the Phillies, and the Padres, they're all bad. So those are the odds. But the most important and interesting thing is they put these lists out that are called the over-under lists.
Right.
And what the over-under list is Las Vegas, if you're, let's go with one right off the bat. If you are a Cubs fan, they say that the Cubs are going to win 95 and a half games this year. So as a Cub fan, you decide, you know what? I think that's low. I'm going to take the over, and you put $25 on the over.
Right.
They have to wait all season to find out what the over is, but they don't have to win the World Series in this. They just have to win enough regular season games.
Right.
So with that in mind, you and I are going to pick 4 teams each, 4 different teams each off of this list.
Okay.
And we can't repeat. So if I pick the Marlins, which I'm not going to, you can't pick the Marlins if I do pick them, and vice versa.
Okay.
All right? So since I won the last bet,
I go first.
not in my book.
You go first. Okay.
So right off the bat, my Met fan friends are going to go absolutely berserk. I'm going to take the Mets at 89 and a half, and I'm going to say over. I think they are going to go over that.
Okay. I am going to pick the Red Sox, and they are at 90 and a half wins, and I'm going to say that they are going to be over.
All right, then I will take the Yankees, who are at 83 and a half, and I say that they will be an over.
Maybe just over.
2.5 games over.
Okay. I'm going to take the Braves.
I gave you the hint. Damn.
Braves at 71 and a half wins, definitely over.
All right, so in that case, I will take the Twins, and where are they on this list? 70 and a half. I'm going to say I'm going to take the under.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, they're going to win 52 games.
I bet you it's 69.
They're just brutal.
All right.
We each have. Oh no, I'm sorry. You have. We have a couple more left. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to pick the Nationals. And I believe that the Nationals are going to go over the 90 and a half wins that's projected.
All right. I will take
How about your Dodgers?
the Diamondbacks. You want me- All right. I'll take the Dodgers.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Where are they?
I don't want.
91 and a half. I'll take the Dodgers,
You're such a fan.
and I will go.
Don't bet like a fan.
Over.
Okay.
So that's, I've now picked 4. You have to pick one more.
I got one more to go. So, how much time we have left? 119? Well, about a little over a minute. All right. So I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the Cleveland Indians.
Where are they?
They're up at the top.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Projected to win 92 and a half games. And I'm going to say with some of the moves that they made, Encarnacion coming on, and guys getting healthy, I think that they're not going to hit 100, but I think they're going to win over 92. So I'm going to say over.
Neither one of us going with the champs from last year, breaking the schneid.
No.
But now let's, real quickly, what 2 teams in the World Series and what will the result be?
Oh, boy. Well, I'm going to say Cleveland. And I'm going to say the Nationals. And I'm going to say Cleveland's going to win it.
How many? That's the tiebreaker.
How many games? In how many games? 6.
All right. I will take
9 seconds.
I can't even say that in 9 seconds.
Go ahead. We'll give you a little
We have to
grace.
go
We'll give you
overtime before we get to overtime.
We'll give you overtime in the overtime.
I'm going to take the Mets, and I'm going to take the Red Sox,
Really?
and the Mets will win in 7.
I think you're going to lose that bet.
I'm okay with that. I just got a little something to stir the pot.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So listen, what do you guys think? Why don't we run a contest for them? What we'll
That's
do
good, yeah.
is we'll have a prize. We'll have a good prize for the person that A, sends us their 4 over-unders
Okay.
that hit, and then their World Series champ, and how many games.
All right. So the way to do that is go down to the bottom of this post as you're watching this video. Down at the bottom, there's a comment section. So you put in your picks and put in your name, and so that we have it and a way to contact you, and then we'll jot that down. We'll put it up on the show next week. We'll show everybody whose picks are what compared to ours, and then we'll monitor the progress as we go along throughout the season.
I doubt anyone's going to pick the Mets over the Red Sox in 7.
I don't think so either. You never know, though. All right, so here are our picks. You make yours, put them in the comment section, and then there we go. All right, so we go into overtime, and the overtime is talking about the business of sports, specifically the business of picking in the NFL draft, because unless you have a crystal ball, it's really a crapshoot, and we've seen a lot of crap picks in the first round.
Listen, as a Giant fan, I can attest to the fact is think back to how many years they picked guys and you went, who?
Yeah.
Same thing with the Jets. In fact, any team, and I make my example based on one draft in particular, where you just say to yourself, oh my goodness, when you hear the facts, because I didn't even remember this far back. There were 6 quarterbacks in the 2000 NFL draft that were picked ahead of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Now, I think we both agree that if he's not the best of all time, he is certainly one of 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. But I think he's the best of all time.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, who are the 6 guys taken before him and what happened to them? And it just proves how ineffective the drafting of NFL players is. It's really a crapshoot.
Yeah, right.
So first up, the guy who was picked way in front of him was number 18 quarterback out of Marshall by the New York Jets, Chad Pennington. Decent quarterback, a couple of decent years. But a couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh, when you hear the rest of these names,
oh, I know.
You're going to give Chad
you don't even know
credit.
Who they are.
Exactly. In fact, I want you to find a picture of some of these guys on this list.
Yeah.
So
Patrick's going to be working overtime on this one.
He's the only one I think in this list. Let me see as I scroll down. I think he is. Yeah, he's the best quarterback other than Brady in this list. So let's go with the guy who was drafted number 65th by the 49ers that year, Giovanni Carmazzi. He never played in an NFL regular season game. Instead, it was the 7th round pick, Tim Rattay, who I remember, who stayed with the 49ers long term. Now, he stuck around with the 49ers for 2 years until Rattay took over the backup job from him. Then he tried NFL Europe, and then he also ended up in Canada. Number 75 pick, the Baltimore Ravens. Chris Redman out of Louisville. Now, he broke a couple of NCAA records for completions, went to the Ravens in the 3rd round. He backed up Trent Dilfer and Tony Banks for the 2001 Ravens Super Bowl team. So he got a ring, even though he was a backup.
Right.
He started only 6 games in 4 years in his entire career.
Hey, Mom, I'm playing tonight.
He played in Canada, and then he also played in the indoor football league.
Oh, boy.
Arena football. Number 163, the Pittsburgh Steelers took T. Martin, T-E-E, Martin out of Tennessee. I remember the guy, but I don't remember him in the pros. He won the national title at Tennessee.
30 seconds left.
Oh, good God. Well, he stunk. At 168 was Mark Bolger, not the guy in the radio. He's the most fun out of, no, he's actually pretty athletic for a radio guy.
He was a good little leaguer player.
He's a good baseball player. But anyway, this guy actually had a decent career in terms of longevity and making a few dollars. Then at number 183 was Spurgeon Wynn from Southwest Texas State. He went to the Browns. And then finally at 199,
3 seconds.
The greatest quarterback ever, Tom Brady, did it. I looked at your camera. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Tom Brady. Yeah, I mean.
199 with those stiffs in front of him.
Imagine that. Yeah.
It's not a science, no matter how much money they throw at it, no matter how resources. it's a crapshoot because you never know what's in here.
Right, but Tom Brady was not the Tom Brady today that he was in 2000. He's grown, he's learned, he's been mentored.
But the tools were there. He grew. He had the tools, and they found a way to sharpen the tools and make him what he is today.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect system, perfect coach for him to be with.
Yeah.
If he had ended up with the Giants or somebody else, who knows what he would have been.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, if the Jets picked him, let's say they had the opportunity.
We'd be talking about Chad Pennington going to the Patriots, Brady at the Jets. How he would
I don't even know. I don't know if he would if he would have survived the Jets. The
So
whole.
when you watch Draft Day on ESPN, understand it's just an absolute crapshoot.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're wrong more than they're right.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just the odds, the way the odds are. How many people even make it to that point? So, anyway, all right. So that will do it for this edition of Inside the Game. That was a lot of fun.
Indeed.
And you were able to keep under the 3-minute clock. I'm proud of you. That was great.
And you can't count the first quarter because you hosed me there.
All right, yeah, that was your first outing in this whole new.
Technology, you got to tell me at the 30-second mark.
All right, so that will do it for this edition of Inside the Game. Once again, give us your picks, give us any feedback that you have, topics you'd like us to discuss. You can find it at the bottom of the screen. There's a comment section. You can put all your information in there. We'd love to hear from you. And so for Rick Zolzer, I'm Charlie Carnaccio, and we will see you next week.